Let's go to Tim Ryan launching his campaign in Ohio. This is a very odd pitch. This is so weird. It seems to me. But did this happen this weekend?
Yes. Yep.
The amount of news this guy gets is not very much.
Didn't he announce it on The View? He had a View spot.
I feel like maybe he did, but here it is. Here's Tim Ryan making his pitch as to why he should be president.
Into our social media, and they intentionally.
All right, pause it. You got to go back. It's you cut off the part. He's talking about Russia went into our social media.
Into our social media, and they intentionally try to divide us. If there is an incident, and I want everyone to listen to me here. If there is an incident in America that's controversial about kneeling for the national anthem, or there's a school shooting, or there's an incident between a cop and a kid, you know who comes on to our social media? The Russians. Okay, I want you to hear this. The Russians. They come into our social media and they spin things to get us into these divided camps.
Man, I have a theory about this.
Wow. Now, people don't quite get what's going on here. But I don't know, because maybe it's because you're too young. But Bob Uecker, who I believe was a player for Cleveland at one point, was famous for being this type of agitator in the context of light beer from Miller. He would get in between people who thought it tasted great or it was less filling. And then he would start arguments all around the country. This was happening. Bob Uecker was involved. And that's what Tim Ryan is suggesting, that there is absolutely no disagreement on things like Black Lives Matter or things
you
like...
You should have seen the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association meeting in Moscow, where the Ferguson cops were just like, I don't want to bother members of our community. I don't want to harass black teenagers and terrorize communities into paying fines to subsidize the rich part of town. That's not what my job's about. You will kill black teenagers. You will get no new squad card.
But I got a very mean, very aggravating meme on Instagram, and I'm like, I'm out there now with the tanks.
If you don't do this, we will meme police department out of existence. Snapchat, Instagram, both. I think Ryan actually is a Glenn Greenwald fan. He's trying to set the tables before we run the interview on Tuesday.
I was going to say,
there really are people this insane and demented who have taken this lesson.
There's no doubt that there are people this insane, demented, but it also proves my point. Like Tim Ryan,
what actually does shock me though is like, here's a guy. I mean, he wouldn't be my candidate, obviously, but like he represents a blue collar district in Ohio. He actually has some decent-ish stuff on like labor and blue collar issues, and he easily could just say like, guys, you got to win Ohio and you got to have a labor message that isn't too ambitious or alien. Like I'm saying, like you could write a script of a super credible argument for him, and he's doing this. Like,
well,
what?
Maybe he also knows that that Russia stuff actually plays the best with those type of folks, and
that could be true.
I think that like
maybe as internal polling.
We have talked. I mean, we have talked in the past where, I think guys like Manchin and Heidi Heitkamp come from very red states. Heitkamp not so much anymore, but that in many respects, the idea of this Russian narrative, I think, gave them some latitude in which to vote against the president's priorities because it resonated with their sort of like red state mentality.
America have no internal problem, racism, nothing. What we going to do? Make a Facebook post and then they will get mad.
I have no doubt.
Turned into Cartman at the end.
Stupid Americans.
I have no doubt that like that there are people on Twitter, who just try and instigate. But I think that, like, if that becomes in your opening statement of your presidential run, I feel like you're not being super ambitious.
I used to read Alice Walker. Then I got on this dank meme page.
I just realized
support Donald Trump.
I didn't notice this at first, but Colin Kaepernick went to Moscow University for college ball.
Right, exactly. I also what an incredible, did he actually conflate like NFL protests with school shootings as just controversial? Like,
yeah, there's controversial things.
Controversy. NFL players taking a stand against police murders of black people.
You know what else might
schools being shot up. I thought actually,
but I'm curious as to what side.
That's
because
an Infowars shit.
I thought schools being shot up was one of the last places of controversy in this country. Like,
no, he was talking about
Alex
unarmed black
Jones.
people getting shot. I think he said.
No, he said school shootings.
But
yeah.
But I'm curious as to what he thinks. Like, where is he on these issues? Because I remember when the president of the United States weighed in on Colin Kaepernick, and can't help but think that the Russian bot army, to the extent that they exist on Twitter, was not as effective as pushing this narrative as, say, Donald Trump and the entire U.S.
but
media.
It's the same thing. Donald Trump was like, all right, I need to send out a unifying message that condemns the historic stain of racism. No, you will not. See you in Helsinki.
Yeah, right.
You will condemn Colin Kaepernick.
Is there a limit to how many people can run for president at once?
This is
Because I feel
Jonathan
like we're
Shade's
approaching
stuff.
it.
It goes back to the Central Park Five as a Russian operation.
Did he say that? No.
No. But I like that you thought it was. I like that you thought it was conceivable.
I didn't read that piece, but it's not completely.
No, it's totally
Nothing
impossible.
would surprise me at this point.
What Ta-Nehisi Coates doesn't get is that the Russians did that.
Let's go. Larry Kudlow is out there, and they are right now the president.